Parrots.
Mm-hmm. You betcha. Yep, theropod dinosaurs. Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. Lord Crocodile Squirrel's here with the lovely kitty.
Hello, everybody.
And her favorite chirpy parrots. I don't know what color today's parrots are, but it really doesn't matter, I suppose. Okay.
It's a pink parrot.
They made dinosaurs in pink? Okay, you say so. All right. And welcome to... Made with Unity.
Murder most of Misfortunate.
Made by a group called Foolish Mortals. And we can change. Okay, it comes in English, Spanish, and Italian. And I know my little... It's also $5 on Steam. Was released on the 1st of May, 2017, and is wanted by at least one person I know. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down. There are no settings for that, apparently. So I have to do this manually. Wow, that's loud. Alright. Credits, quit.
We are being drowned.
No, I already turned it down.
Okay.
I don't think I want tension. I think I want to actually, like, look at the game and play it, rather than just throw shit around. Okay, now you're going to teach me how to read a visual novel. Okay. Alright. This is not where I would have put that. It's okay though. Text speed high, text height, regular font.
I think the voice volume isn't too loud.
I haven't heard the voices yet. Hey, back here, you.
My dear Misfortune, I hope this letter finds you well. I did so enjoy our little discussion of the work of Guy de Mauvaisier the last time we met. I would like to cordially invite you to an intimate gathering of mine on the evening of the 27th.
Okay.
We will be celebrating my recent acquisition of a rather unique historical property, and I think you are just the one to properly appreciate it.
Yes, which means you want me to get into trouble.
I look forward to your RSVP in the affirmative. Most sincerely yours, Prince Titanico.
Titanico!
It was at an art auction, I think, that I first met Prince Titanico. He seemed to think the world of himself.
Probably still does.
I, quite frankly, thought him a bit of a bore. But if I only accepted social invitations from people I thoroughly approved, I wouldn't dine out very often.
Maybe you're doing it wrong then, kiddo?
Yeah. Ooh.
I stepped onto the curb from my limo and laid eyes on the place for the first time.
Ooh, fully voiced no less.
Gothic gargoyles loomed ominously over the old house, and creeping vines wound their way up its walls, as though trying to strangle it.
As opposed to strangling you, that might be more... never mind, I'm going to shut up now.
The prince had been right.
Yeah.
It really was to my taste.
Good evening, ma'am. May I have your name?
Klops.
Ooh.
Ugh. This hulking thug, on the other hand, not so much. Fortune. Misfortune.
Yes, you are a misfortune.
Is the miss a first name or a title, ma'am?
like to leave that to the imagination. Now you must be the butler, so why don't you buttle on and show me inside? The evening is a bit damp, I dare say.
You and your cigarette, really thin.
No, ma'am. I'm not a butler. Just a valet.
Okay.
My name is Klops.
Can't be.
Oh my, what a terrible shame. Well, butler, or valet, you do open doors, don't you?
You know, now I actually want this lady to be convicted.
Yes, ma'am. Right this way.
If I was him, I'd pack her back in her limousine and walk the fuck off. Job or no job. This woman's got a bad problem with attitude. Wow, it's kind of trashy
From
here.
the cobwebs in the corners and the dust on the railings, it was obvious that the house had been abandoned for some time.
You mean like all the rock on the floor and the wooden bits all over everywhere?
Some high society guests might have been insulted
What's
to be
up
invited
with
to a
all
meal
these
which
rocks
they
on the
had,
floor?
but it
Probably
didn't bother
busted
me.
roof.
I realized that the house had been preserved as it was for the effect.
Misfortune has arrived.
Ah, Misfortune. Good evening. There are refreshments on the side table. Please do help yourself.
Horatio with the wizard hat.
Why, thank you. So, are you the butler? Or are you going to tell me you're just, I don't know, the concierge?
Butler? No. I'm not a servant. I am a close friend and trusted advisor to our dear prince.
Okay.
The Grand Magus of his court, if you will. My name is Horatio.
The Grand Magus. And as such, you are wearing that ridiculous hat.
Charmed,
Okay.
I'm sure.
I'll buy it for now.
My dear Misfortune, how are you, darling? It's so good to see you again.
It's the Comtessa. Probably
Contessa de Clecitra. Yes, it's been just ages, hasn't it?
Well, there's a shift in attitude.
I should have known you'd be here. You're never one to miss an event on the social circuit.
Except that she looks like looks like a man. She does. Look at her.
I needed something to cheer me up after my late husband's funeral. And an evening like this is just the thing.
Are you the one that's going to be dead?
Of course. I was so sorry to hear about your husband. This is your fourth time a widow, if I'm not mistaken.
Unfortunately, she still can't get away with She still can't get away from the first time being for a first-time mutant.
Quite so. And for you, 9, I believe?
Oh! No candidates here!
Ah, yes.
Ouch.
They just keep dropping dead, the poor dears. It's so hard to find a good man with stamina these days.
Because you look like you might be 17.
Oh my, should I be worried? Perhaps you've been cursed.
No, she's got nothing. Once she's got something on Zsa Zsa Gabor, then you can be worried.
Me? Cursed? Nonsense. I seem to be doing just fine. But maybe I am bad luck.
As described by your name, Miss Fortune.
Let me see. When exactly was it that we last saw each other? It must have been at the Emperor's ball.
Uh-huh.
Heavens, yes! Wasn't that quite the affair? Were you there when one of the waiters spilled a tray of champagne all over Duchess Reese's dress?
Ooh,
Oh, yes.
there was a scandal.
That was positively scrumptious, wasn't it? I mean, a shame about the dress, of course. I heard she had it made just for the ball.
So, well, given how many people come out nowadays, it was bound to happen to someone. I even heard the poor servant say he was sure he felt someone in the crowd give him a little shove. Can you imagine?
I bet she can.
Surely not. These are high lords and ladies we're talking about. No doubt the man is just making excuses for his clumsiness.
Right.
You're probably right. Just an unlucky accident, I'm sure.
Uh-huh. I don't know who did. Ah. Wow.
Ah, Misfortune, welcome. I am so delighted that you could come. I
What's
trust
the mask,
Horatio
dude?
has been keeping you entertained.
Oh, yes. La Comtesse and I
Is
were just
the prince-
scandalizing her court jester. Or was he a wizard? In any case, scandalizing him with our intimate marriage details.
Of course you were. So tell me, what do you think of the house? I must admit, when I first came into this little period piece, I immediately thought of you.
Uh-huh.
It seems melancholy, mysterious, and maybe just a little macabre. So yes, I quite like it so far.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. I will take you on a more detailed tour shortly, but we are still waiting for more guests to arrive. And what timing! Here they are now.
Miss Charisse and Miss Leah have arrived, sir.
4 women, 2 men, and the Cyclops.
Yeah.
And shop.
What's that?
The last 2 guests, apparently. Including a woman in shorts and a tied-up button-down who seems to have had her right hip completely shattered.
Is that Lee Charisse? The industrial heiress? The one who's been throwing all those charity balls ever since she came into her fortune?
The very same.
My beautiful Charisse, please come in. Without you, this place is dark and drab, but your radiance rekindles it anew.
I'd be willing to bet Titanico's the one that was going to wind up getting the bullet.
You're too kind. Oh my! I had heard she was seeing someone, but I never imagined it was him.
Indeed. This party just got a little more interesting.
Put the cigarette away, woman.
And this must be Leah, the girlhood friend of whom you speak so very highly.
Yeah, nice place you got here. If you like entertaining dead people.
You know what? That's the first intelligent thing I've heard the entire time.
Dead
What
people?
was?
Yeah, I assure you, fair lady, you are perfectly safe here.
The thing Leah just said was the most intelligent thing I'd heard yet.
I think it was a critique of the decor.
I didn't catch
not
the
of our safety.
tasks.
Leah doesn't mean it.
It
It's
says-
a lovely house. Really.
Yeah, nice place you got here, if you like entertaining dead people.
Oh, okay.
What was that?
On the contrary, Miss Leah may be more right than she knows. Until recently, this mansion was the property of the Lee family. Perhaps you know of them.
I don't know anything about them. They might.
Oh yes, who doesn't? A distinguished family of the nobility with a respected pedigree and a long history of public service and political influence.
Uh-huh.
So, short version, some stuffy old rich people.
Yep.
Almost all of the estates out here, away from the city, were owned by old families. But many have had to sell over the years. It must be a bit sad for them, leaving all that history behind.
Indeed, and especially so for the Lees. Theirs is a tale of tragedy, and it ends as they so often do, in sorrow and blood.
Oh,
Come, the house itself will tell its share of the tale.
Now you can light your cigarette, woman.
This is the smoking room. Did the Lee family use this as a quiet place to relax after their evening meals, I wonder? Or was this the proverbial smoke-filled room where secret deals would be struck and the fates of nations decided?
Ooh, somebody is way over the top.
Yeah.
My attention was drawn to a curio cabinet on one side of the room. Some of the items within rather struck my fancy.
A dagger, which is a possible murder weapon, and a straw doll that has been flattened under a steamroller.
This cabinet, are these items originals?
I believe so. I have endeavored to change as little as possible about the house since acquiring it. The Lees were well known as eclectic collectors.
Right. Including the Stabby Death
They
object.
also say that sorcery
Yes, I
ran
believe we
strongly in
already
the
have the
family,
murder
though.
weapon.
There may be others.
Great. As if we didn't have enough reason to think this place was owned by a bunch of creepers.
Still is, Leah, still is.
Come now. Surely a smart little girl like you doesn't put any stock in old superstitions.
Little girl, okay.
Magic and superstitions, no. Weird and creepy people, on the other hand, are plenty real.
Mm-hmm.
No need to worry, young lady.
I like
You're
green
about good
hair.
company here.
Green hair. The green hair one.
Yeah, she got that whole Londoner thing going on, and apparently her hip's been fixed.
We will have time to look around in greater detail later, I assure you. For the moment, follow me, if you would.
She's the skeptical one in there.
And the one least likely to be a bitch.
They called this the King Bed, home to the master of the house.
Okay.
Now, it is as you see it.
And also the one
empty
to show
and
up to
as it
this
waits
kind
for a
of
new
event
master to
wearing
take place of the
shorts and a shirt tied up under her boobs. And green hair.
Now, have a look at the way she's drawn. Because you have to be very careful when you're drawing people that are showing any kind of real skin. Our artist was not. Can you tell me what I'm thinking of here? Aside from the smartphone in her hand, ignore that completely.
Her shoulders are disproportionate, are too narrow.
Mm-hmm. She looks kind of hunched over for a start. But, have a look. Here is where her thigh meets her hip. Okay?
Yeah.
And we're going back out the same way over here. But this line right here is not musculature, because she doesn't seem to have any. But it should be the actual top of her thigh, just a couple of inches above the pubis. but her pubis is down here and indicated by this line rather than that one.
Yeah.
Because you start here.
It's absolutely disproportional. It's something gigantic.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, if you take this here, her pubis should be right about here.
Yes.
And it would, and the proportion of her other leg is just gone.
Yeah. Completely disproportionate.
He's
and
wrong.
super narrow shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Cold.
Unlike the Comtessa here, with her super pointy chin.
Yes.
No. The thorough flatness in this much older figure, and the lack of any hip structure at all, or the apparent lack of any kind of real hip structure. For example, someone went to a large amount of work to detail Misfortune, and her pubis is still too high, because this should come down to about there.
And even though she's wearing something corset-like, she looks like she's preggers.
Yep. As opposed to this creature who looks like a man in drag. Okay. So, yeah. She does. She looks like a man in drag. And she's certainly not going to feed any children with that bus line. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save here. Because reasons.
Yeah.
Its artwork is going to... The backgrounds are very well detailed.
The background, yes, but the character design is not.
Yes, the character design is very much wanting. It needs some work in a large way.
Actually, you didn't even give time to get into what happens here, so
we will do that at a later time. Assuming that I can stand to look at some of these people long enough. It could be that the art improves later on, but I doubt it strongly. But with the artwork and the condition it's in, it's not making for good visuals.
Yeah, actually the premise here is you play as Misfortune, someone dies, and you have to
exonerate yourself.
Yes.
Sigh.
And there are several endings.
And honestly, at this point, I'm not sure I want to exonerate Misfortune. She's thoroughly unlikable. I don't like her in any way, shape, or form. And this guy Klops is, I don't even know. So, alright. So
and I think the prince looks like a dick.
That probably is. Alright, so I think we're done here. At least for the time being.
Actually, the story is very interesting as stories go. But the characters are badly designed, and this bothers me.
Yeah. The one they should have been the most careful on was actually Leah, and there are way too many problems with that character design. I mean, I'd be willing to accept that the Comtessa has had breast cancer and a radical mastectomy. I'd buy that to a point.
No.
As long as she had some other feminine features to her, it would be better. And her right arm seems to change between workable and kind of mangled. I don't know.
Yeah, you have a good premise of a story and you mangle it with bad drawn characters. I don't know, it's kind of sad. Well, we will have to go back to this, you know that.
Yeah, I know. It's the way it usually works for visual novels. We really do have to go through it and go pick it. We actually have a list of visual novels we need to get through anyway, including including a complete review of Nekonin X Heart. But that will not be today. That will be another time. So, between now and the next time we see you, be safe, be sane.
And let's make games fun again.
See ya.